War has profound and often devastating effects on human rights, leading to widespread violations that can have long-lasting consequences for individuals and societies. Some of the key effects include 1. Loss of life and physical injury. The most immediate and tragic effect of war is the loss of life and physical harm to civilians and combatants. Bombing, gunfire, and other forms of violence cause death and severe injuries, often leading to permanent disabilities. 2. Displacement and refugee crises. Armed conflict often forces large numbers of people to flee their homes, creating refugees and internally displaced persons. This displacement subjects individuals to dangerous living conditions, lack of basic needs, such as food, water, and shelter, and separation from family members. 3. Torture and inhumane treatment. Prisoners of war and civilians caught in the conflict may be subjected to torture, arbitrary detention, forced labor, and other forms of inhumane treatment. This violates fundamental human rights protections against cruel and degrading treatment. 4. Sexual violence. War often leads to an increase in sexual violence, particularly against women and children. Rape and sexual slavery are used as weapons of war, causing long-term trauma, unwanted pregnancies, and the spread of diseases such as HIV/AIDS. 5. Destruction of infrastructure. The destruction of infrastructure, such as schools, hospitals, and water supplies, undermines the right to education, healthcare, and access to basic needs. It disrupts normal life and can have economic consequences, making recovery difficult even after the conflict ends. 6. Impunity and lack of accountability. In many conflicts, perpetrators of human rights violations are not held accountable, leading to a culture of impunity. And this lack of justice further erodes the rule of law and trust in institutions. 7. Psychological and social impact. War causes deep psychological trauma, particularly for those who witness or experience violence. PTSD, depression, and anxiety become widespread, affecting the mental health of entire populations. These effects can persist for generations. 8. Suppression of civil liberties. Governments or armed groups may impose curfews, restrict freedom of speech, and suppress political dissent in the name of security, leading to a loss of civil liberties. This suppression can also target ethnic or political groups, leading to discrimination and marginalization. 9. Economic hardship. Wars devastate economies, leading to job losses, poverty, and widespread hunger. The destruction of businesses, factories, and agricultural lands hampers economic recovery and worsens living conditions for civilians. 10th. Erosion of rule of law. During wartime, judicial systems often collapse, and law enforcement agencies may be overwhelmed or corrupt. This erosion of legal protections undermines the protection of human rights and can lead to arbitrary arrests, disappearances, and killings. The combined effects of war on human rights create an environment of fear, injustice, and suffering. Even after conflicts end, the road to recovery often involves